How's it already on? Okay. This is a picture of me meeting Snoop Dogg. Just kidding, that's actually his wax figure. If you haven't heard by now or you haven't realized, I might have a slightly weird obsession with wax museums, and I really love them. And I always convince my mom to take us to one anytime we're out of town. So today I figured it'd be, good to share my love for wax museums with you. Now, some people may think wax museums are like creepy or useless, but today I'm going to show you that they're actually very interesting places with cool histories, entertainment value, and delicate artistic processes. Now, wax museums have been around for centuries. They even date back to ancient civilizations in Egypt and Greece. Although they have been around for a long time, they were not always used for public display and entertainment. According to the All-American Adventure Guide's 2023 article, History of Wax Museums, they state, in ancient Egypt, one of the primary uses of wax figures was in funerary rituals and tombs. Wax figures, often made of beeswax, were created to represent the deceased individuals. These were called shabtis and were thought to come to life in the afterlife to help the deceased. Wax figures were also used as offerings to gods to request divine intervention or healing. In Greece, the wax figures were called akphora and were used in religious or ritualistic contexts. They were often created to resemble gods, heroes, or the deceased. Even Greek artists sometimes used wax for their sculptures instead of stone if the project needed something more, like some more changes or like delicate procedures so that they didn't mess up their project with stone. The wax was easier to mold than stone, and then the wax figures didn't just stop there though. They were also used in the Middle Ages for deceased European royalty. After a funeral, the wax figures of those deceased royalty would be displayed in a church for viewing, and visitors could come and view the wax figures. Because of this, making posed wax figures became very popular throughout all European courts, and it often cost the visitors money to go see these wax figures. The more modern wax museums that we are now familiar with really came around with Madame Tussauds. According to Grand Orient Wax Art's 2024 article, Preserving History, the Role of Wax Figures in Museum Exhibitions, they state, Madame Tussauds is a name synonymous with wax figures. She began her career by creating wax portraits of prominent figures in her time, and her talent earned her a reputation in France, and she established her first permanent exhibition in London in 1835. During the French Revolution, Madame Tussauds was forced to create wax figures of the executed French nobility. This gained significant attention for her and really started her fame as a wax sculptor. Madame Tussauds Museum became a popular attraction, and now there are 23 locations all over the world. Now, there are lots of different kinds of wax museums you can go and visit nowadays, but the history of the wax museums is the part of what makes them so entertaining. The role of wax museums is really to bring news to life. Wax museums have all kinds of different figures and exhibits with different stories. Before TV, wax museums allowed people to see up close the lives of rich and famous people. And we still see that today in wax museums. We still display famous celebrities. For example, at Madame Tussauds' New York location, they have wax figures of Dua Lipa, Beyonce, Lady Gaga, The Rock, and they always display the current president and vice president. And they don't just have celebrities, they also have like movie characters like Pennywise, Iron Man, and the Hulk. And these are some different like wax figures at different places. So, they don't just have celebrities, wax museums also bring history to life. Some museums use their wax figures to display important scenarios and events that have happened in history. And these historical exhibits can help people better understand a specific time in history and be more exposed to different things. According to Grand Orient Wax Art's 2024 article, Preserving History, the Role of Wax Figures in Museum Exhibitions, they state, they provide visitors with a tangible connection to historical events and personalities, making the past more accessible and engaging. This provides a level of entertaining education for visitors. These museums also play a role in pop culture because they present and show the current trends and happenings of the modern times with the different celebrities, and they're always changing out wax figures like every couple of years and months. Most modern wax museums also have interactive features. You can put on like the same outfit they're wearing or like a coat or a hat, or you can sit next to them on a bench. But there wouldn't be the entertainment from wax museums without the actual wax figures. Making wax figures requires a lot of precision and time. According to a 2019 article by Madame Tussauds' Sydney location titled How Are Wax Figures Made Today, they state it takes over 800 hours of molding, measuring, painting, and sculpting to make one figure. This is all done by the hands of over 20 highly skilled artists. Before they are made, the model has more than 200 measurements and photos taken to make sure the wax figure is as accurately as possible made to represent the model. Before they are made, the artist then sculpt the figure with clay to form a skeleton base. Sculpting the head alone can take up to 6 weeks. The sculptors have to have really good anatomical knowledge to make sure that every bone and position is correct to the model. Then a plaster mold is made so that wax can be poured into it. The wax is heated to 165 degrees, then poured in the mold to cool overnight. The head and body are made separately for better precision and accuracy when putting designs on. All of the wax molds and figures have to be made 2% bigger than they're actually measured at because wax shrinks when it cools. And the face and the head is the most intricate part of the wax figure. Almost everything is done by hand. Hair is individually added to the head, and it takes around 5 weeks to add each strand into the figure. The eyes for the figures are made out of acrylic resin, and all the little details are painted by hand and done within a 14-hour procedure. The artists paint the iris by hand, and they add little threads into the eyes to make each little vein of the eye. And even sometimes a dentist will come and take a mold of the model's teeth so that they can replicate it for the wax figure and be more accurate. The last thing they do is do the wax figure's makeup with oil-based paints to make a realistic skin tone and texture, and they're also given an outfit to match whoever they're modeled after. And then the wax figure is approved by the entire team and the model himself, and there's lots of critiquing and pictures, but finally the wax model can be approved for being put out on display. The whole creation of a wax figure takes 3 to 4 months and at least 10 different artists. So to wrap this up, to come to conclusion, wax museums have been around for ages and have provided entertainment for just as long. The process of sculpting wax figures is just as entertaining as it is delicate, and wax museums will hopefully continue to provide a fun and interesting experience, and I will obviously continue to love it. Maybe one day I'll open my own wax museum or even have my own wax figure.